All right, guys. Showboating Sports here. It's your man Scott Free, and we are back. Thank you guys for tuning in. We have a show right now that we are getting ready to get going, man. Tonight we're going to talk about Vergil Ortiz being injured, Charlo fighting his mandatory, and Jaron Ennis, who now has a Showtime. He has like a contract with Showtime to do a couple of different shows. So right now we're going to get this thing going. Also, I'm going to put it all up now where people can call in and put it all in the chat. And let everybody come out. And I'm putting everything in now. Let everybody call in and sound off. So that's what's going down now. All right. So we got that one up. And here we go. So anyway, guys, like I said, we got that. We're gonna actually pin this one to the top so you guys can see the number and stuff. And like I said, before we go any further, guys, please like, subscribe, and share. Also, I'm going to tune in my YouTube people, not YouTube, but my Facebook people. Got my Facebook people all on here, and start having this where these guys can come in and get everybody on in here. So like I said, I'm in a couple of different Facebook groups, and so it's kind of hard to do cross promotions on there. I got to go get that little stuff together for them and have all that ready. So we're getting them all tuned in. So if you guys had any comments right here at the beginning before we get started, we'll go ahead and start letting you guys get that on in, and see what you guys' thoughts is on all that. And I think the first thing we're going to talk about is Vergil Ortiz. He's injured. A lot of people saying that they think that Vergil Ortiz could be not faking, but he could not be having a problem making weight. So that's one of the things that a lot of people are talking about, is that Vergil Ortiz is having a problem making weight. I'm not 100% sure, but you never know. So, but that's one thing they're talking about. But then also they said that he's in the hospital. He was overworking himself. His dad said that he seemed like he was kind of, at first, I guess his first time in, he was a little bit, I think they said he seemed like he was overworked because he came in at 100%, and then the very next day he wasn't 100%. So he knew something was wrong, so they took him out. And so, man, we got a lot to unpack. And like I said, we're going to need to put a lot and let people call in and sound off. I'm putting this last one up. All right. Got that one off. So like I said, we got a pretty good show. Here we go, man. There's got to be a way away. But anyway, so we're going to keep on cooking with this. All right. So anyway, like I said, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people to talk about all kind of stuff. And I guess the first thing we'll go ahead and talk about is, like I said, we'll keep cooking with Vergil Ortiz first, give people enough time to come on in, and see where everybody is on that one. And keep on cooking. Keep on getting it all going, man. So, and sound off. All right. Sound off. Here we go. So we're ready. So the funny thing is, not the funny thing about him being injured, but the funny thing is about with Vergil Ortiz saying that he's injured, they called it off, and now they're saying something about maybe letting Blair Cobbs fill in for him. Not sure. And let me just tell these last people, we are live right now, and we are live. And here we go. All right, guys, here we go. All right, we're good to go. So let's start cooking this thing. Let's start from the top. So, funny thing. So the crazy thing is that, like I said, the crazy thing about this is that Vergil Ortiz is hurt. He's injured. His dad said he was in sparring. He got injured. He was going 100%. The next thing you know, he kind of started giving he was showing that he was injured or something was going wrong with him. He thought maybe he was having a bad day. He was hurt or something like that. But Not sure what it was about at first. He wasn't sure. He didn't know if he was going through something mental, but they said that they took him to the hospital. And they said at the hospital, they said that he has a thing where, I can't think of the name of it, but it's where athletes work themselves too hard. And what it does is it causes the muscles and stuff to break down, and that puts proteins and stuff into their bloodstream, which is filtered out by their kidneys and their stuff like that. And that condition can kill somebody. So they were kind of real concerned about that. And the crazy thing is that I said, this funny thing is that Earl Spence Jr. took a shot at Bernard Hopkins, because when Earl Spence Jr. had an eye injury, Bernard Hopkins put up that show the paperwork. So Earl Spence hit Bernard Hopkins back with that show proof. Let's see the paperwork. See the paperwork is what I'm saying, and which was crazy. And I think that it's only right. If you call another fighter out and you don't take his injury serious, then they don't need to take your fighter serious. I mean, what's good for the geese is good for the gander. I mean, like I said, I hope Vergil Ortiz is okay. For the first thing is just make sure he's okay health before we start joking and say anything else. And some people said that they think he missed weight and he's having a hard time making the weight. We don't know what it is until the real story comes out. And we may never know. But like I said, for the people that's calling in, for the people that are first tuning in, we do have the number out up on the screen where you guys can call in, sound off. You can remain anonymous, or you can say your name. Also, we're going to keep on cooking with this Vergil Ortiz. Now, I'm going to tell you how I feel about it. I don't think that Vergil Ortiz, I can't say that he's not injured because I'm not a doctor, but I do think it might be a little bit of probably making weight or the fact of the person he's fighting. I think it's more to it than that. And like I said, we will know and we will find that out about that. So that's something crazy that we definitely got to keep our eye on. And just like Earl Spence said, I hope they show the paperwork on that, because a lot of fighters that are saying that they are, that they hurt. Antonio Luna said, Spence fears Crawford. Wow. So you're going to come in on here and start talking about Spence fearing Crawford, huh? Okay. Well, you know what? Actually, if you want to call in and sound off, I would like to hear why you say Spence fears Crawford, even though that's not on here. The number's at the top of the screen. So if you would like to call in and if you want to call in and sound off, 954-408-3314. It's right there at the top of your screen. Feel free to call in and we'll see. See what you say. Since you're saying that Spence fears Crawford, which I don't think so. I think you're here trolling. I don't think that you have a leg to stand on that one, but I would love to hear your take on that, Antonio, because I don't think you have any proof or any substantial evidence or something to say to show that Spence fears Crawford, because like Spence said, he wants to be undisputed and he will definitely go fight Crawford next if he gets past Ugas. So that's one of the things we got to keep our eye on and make sure he gets past Ugas. But anyway, let's keep on cooking with this Vergil Ortiz thing. Is that Virgil is a really good champ, man. I ain't gonna say a champ. He's a really good fighter. He hadn't won a belt yet, but he's a really good fighter. I like Vergil Ortiz. I think that he is probably number 6 or number 7 in the division. I don't think he beats anybody in the top 5. So I think that they have to make sure that they move him accordingly to make sure he stays afloat to get those. I know he switched from Canelo's camp, Eddie Reynoso. He switched from him being a trainer and went to a new trainer. So I think that it could be where there's smoke, there's fire. I think that it could be a problem that with him making weight. I think that could be a problem. I think that then he switched trainers, it could be a problem. So like I said, you guys, let me know what your thoughts are on that one. And so we'll talk a little bit about Jamal Charlo. And that brings me to Jamal Charlo. Jamal Charlo was supposed to fight Jaime Munguia. And now he's fighting a mandatory, which I don't approve of. I don't approve of it. I think that he needs to stop taking these fights that are not getting him anywhere. I think that he definitely needs to step up and fight somebody with a name. like Jaime Munguia. I don't think that it's mandatory. I don't approve of it. I could do like some of the Canelo fans do and say, oh, well, man, Canelo has got to take that. Antonio Luna, you said that, are you saying that Vergil Ortiz left Garcia's camp? Yes, he left Garcia's camp. That means you're not following boxing, because he left Garcia's camp and he went down to Eddie Reynoso down at Canelo's camp. And he was there for a while. He said he pulled out of that camp because he was going to go back up and train someplace else. He was going to train somewhere different. Ryan Garcia left as well. So there's 2 fighters that left that camp. So I think that you're on here trolling me, man. So we're going to just ignore that until you say something that has caught up with boxing. So we do appreciate you coming in, but you're going to have to bring a lot more than just throwing little stuff out there. But also we'll get back to Jermall Charlo until we get some of these trolls out of here. But it's cool, because when they bring it in here, they can't just throw stuff out. They came to a really good boxing channel, a guy that knows his stuff. And if I don't know it, I will definitely find out. No honor in there and saying something that you don't know. But anyway, like I said, Jermall Charlo, I don't approve of it. I want to see him fight Jaime Munguia, because Jaime Munguia is a really good fighter, and I like for him to show. Now, I do put Jermall Charlo as beating Jaime Munguia, but and I can't blame it on him, because that Golden Boy and PBC came to an agreement as far as the fight is concerned, and then Golden Boy put in that they want to fight Showtime DAZN, which Showtime and PBC have their own contract, their own thing together. And everybody knows the A-side picks all that other stuff. So I don't understand why they even entertained negotiating on the contract, because they knew exactly what PBC was going to say. And so now PBC is kind of acting like somebody with the A side. I mean, they're going to act a little pissed off and say, hey, well, we won't deal with you guys anyway. We'll just take a mandatory position. And that's what it's about, is because we don't need Jaime Munguia. Jaime Munguia needs us. Jaime Munguia needs Jermall Charlo to step up in action, either him or Andre. He needs one of those belts. So, and Andre is going to, I think he already let his belt go to move up. I don't know if that's 100% in stone yet, but that's what I was hearing. So I haven't checked that out to find out if that's in 100% in stone. But like I said, I think that Jermall Charlo should have tried to do what he could do to make that fight happen. But when you got PBC out there with a point to prove that they're going to fight on their own network and they're going to be in charge of it because they do have the A side, which is really understandable. And I do understand that DAZN and Golden Boy is trying to recoup some of that money that they've lost. The $1.3 billion that DAZN has lost, but they're going to keep losing money if they keep paying Canelo all these outrageous prices to fight a bunch of cab drivers. You know what I mean? A bunch of people that just because they have the belt, they're trying to say, oh, he's the next thing. And Canelo is definitely challenging himself. Man, Canelo ain't trying to challenge himself. He's pressing to fight Bevo because he knows he can beat Bevo. That's the only reason why he's coming after him. Because Charlo and Andre does have a belt. So, so that's another talk for another day. But like I said, Jermall Charlo should be pushing to fight Jaime Munguia, because he really, really needs those kind of bigger names to keep lifting his stock up. He's at the point in his career where he's getting older and he's going to have to make some moves, because Canelo is going to duck him. Canelo's going to duck everybody to the end. His fans are supporting him to go fight Kermit the Frog. They don't care who he fights as long as he wins. So he'll stick around for Bevo. He'll stick around for somebody from Russia, somebody from Czechoslovakia that has a belt. And then Antonio Luna said Canelo's undisputed. He's undisputed because he didn't fight David Benavidez for that belt, man. He waited around. David Benavidez kept trying to challenge Canelo. Canelo didn't want to take that fight. But the minute he lost it on the scale, Benavidez lost his belt on the scale, man. And then once he lost his belt on the scale, then Canelo swooped right in, hit Mauricio Suleiman and said, hey, I want to fight for that belt because I have franchise belt. I can move up and down. Can I fight for that belt? They granted it for him to fight for that belt. And then he also said, can I fight Caleb Smith for that belt? And they put that together and let him fight Caleb Smith for that belt. And it's crazy, man. And you guys pull for Canelo. I think Canelo is a really good fighter, man. He has a lot of skills, but Canelo is getting stuff that most fighters don't. He got the Floyd Mayweather fight, which he didn't deserve at age 24. He didn't do anything for it. And he's not turning around doing the same thing for other people. And he said, Antonio said, yet Charlo won't fight Andre. Okay, you want him to fight Andre, why? So they'll cancel each other out? Why don't Canelo fight him? Since you guys think that Canelo is such the top dog of the world, why doesn't he fight those guys? I mean, tell me that. You guys put that out there. Let me tell you this. On this channel, no boxers get a pass, man. No boxers. I don't care who it is. One of my favorite my favorite boxer right now is Earl Spence. But you let Earl Spence go, hey man, he gets past Ugas, and now I'm just gonna go ahead and just keep fighting people in different ways. No, man. You said you was gonna fight and you wanted to become undisputed. It doesn't matter who holds those belts, stick to it. And that's what I would do to my favorite fighter. And like I said before, Canelo was one of my favorite fighters. He was my top pound for pound fighter. But I had to kick him off once he started getting caught with PEDs. He started moving funny and start fighting guys that weren't relevant. You know, you start stepping up and start fighting Yildirim, start fighting Rocky Fielding and all those people, but then you still want to be the top dog. Hey, he's a really good fighter, but he's not fighting the fights that most boxing fans want to see. And I'm not talking about the fans that, not fans, we'll say the Canelo groupies want to see, man. So get out of here with that, man. You guys are just throwing stuff out. You guys don't care what Canelo does as long as Canelo stays at the top. And you guys know, like I know, if Canelo fights these three guys, he's going to definitely take a loss that the judges can't take up for. He got away with the Laura fight. He got away with the Trout fight. He got away with the first Triple G fight because the judges gave him a gift, and you all know that. You guys know that. You know the judges gave him a gift. Then he says, okay, Antonio says, Bud beats Spence. Spence won't even look at Bud. If you say so, man. Now, this is what I'll say. How about this? How about we make a deal? If Spence gets past Ugas, right, I will stand on my square and say that Spence should go after Bud next. Now, if they say, well, Spence, you have to take this mandatory, WBC, the IBF, or somebody steps in, I think Spence should fight it to go fight Bud. No excuses. I'm standing on that. But now if they say, hey, we're going to strip you, we're ordering this fight where Spence has nothing to do about it, I can't get mad at Spence for that because you can't be out undisputed without a belt. But with that same token, I want you to do the same thing for Canelo. Why don't you say Canelo should fight Andrade and Charlo? Why don't you do that? Why don't you put that in here in the comment section and you tell why Canelo shouldn't fight Charlo and Andrade. And I don't want to hear that who have they fought. I mean, it's okay that you know what's funny? You guys will hold another fighter accountable. You don't care who the fighter is, but you won't hold Canelo accountable. Why not? Why not hold Canelo accountable? Why does Canelo get a pass? Why does Canelo get a pass by saying, I'm not fighting no Mexicans? Why do you guys give him a pass on that? Why does he get a pass on that? Why does he get a pass on fighting only UK fighters when he's supposed to be questionably the face of boxing? Why? And man, you get me all off subject because you get me heated about this Canelo thing. I think Canelo's a really good fighter, but he's a duck. Period, point blank. And I want to see Charlo fight bigger names. And so I'm not giving it an easy pass with Charlo not fighting Munguia. They talked about it. They did it. That's when you put your foot down and say, listen, we got to come to some kind of resolution and make this fight happen. But also, De La Hoya has got to step back, period. He doesn't have the A side on this. He doesn't get to call the shots on that. He doesn't get to pick what network and all of that. Your fighter needs big fights. That's what your fighter needs. And if Munguia doesn't want to fight Charlo, then make him fight Andrade. if Andrade doesn't move up. But I think Andrade is moving up because he's going to keep chasing Canelo, which he will never get that Canelo fight because Canelo hates that style. Canelo will never fight him because Canelo is definitely running from that style. And that's the truth. That is the truth. Canelo is going to keep running from that style, bro. Yep. He said if Canelo becomes undisputed in the light heavyweight, it's a wrap. Dude, he's not going to fight Better Beef. He's never going to fight it. And it's a wrap for what? Because he keeps picking and choosing? You okay with him fighting Macaboo? You okay with him fighting Macaboo? You okay with your champ fighting Macaboo? I am not okay with Spence fighting some lesser opponents just to get to the top. So you mean to tell me, let's say Spence ducks Bud. Something happened. Bud moves up to 154. The belt comes out at 147. And let's say it falls down to, I don't know, somebody that's top 10 welterweight and get the belt. And then Spence runs after him. And Spence gets undisputed. I'm not for that. Because you got undisputed once Bud left the division. So I can't give Spence too much credit for that. But you guys will give Canelo credit if he fights Kermit the Frog. Why? Why? Explain to me why, man. Why do you give him credit for that? That's what I want to know. When is this about a sport and not being a groupie, man? When do you hold these fighters accountable? It just doesn't make sense, man. Man, that type of stuff don't make sense to me, man. Not me. Canelo won't get a pass. None of them will get a pass. And you know what? Josh Taylor, really, let me tell you this. I respect Josh Taylor and all. I really do. But I can't sit there and say I'm going to keep giving Josh Taylor a pass because guess what? He should have went back down and gave the guy a rematch. Josh Taylor lost that fight. Now he's saying I'll fight him at a catch weight. You know what I mean? At a catch weight. Because you're blaming it on not being able to wait. But I will give Josh Taylor credit. And the reason why I say I'll give Josh Taylor credit, well, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. And the reason why I say I give him the benefit of the doubt, because he tried to hold Teofimo Lopez to fight Devin Haney and become undisputed. He said, man, you need to go down there and fight. And Josh Taylor fought this guy. Even though I say he lost, he fought him. He didn't do like Canelo. He didn't just jump around and go up to different weight classes. But if you like a guy, that's what he does, that he likes trying to scam his way into being a legend, that's on you guys. But once he retires, you're going to hear the real deal come out about him, man. Because my thing is this. You became undisputed, but you only became undisputed once David Benavidez lost his belt on the scale, which was stupid for David Benavidez to do that. But, hey, you guys want champs like that? And all that cherry picking that he does, guess what, man? It's going to definitely catch up with him. You can't keep taking all these little light touches. And what happens is when you take all these light touches, when you get into a heavy fight, it's going to be over. Now, will I think Bivol will beat him? Nah. That's why Canelo is taking that fight. Bivol won't beat Canelo. I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think Bivol will beat Canelo. Not at all. I think Better Biv, I say he could beat Canelo. Macaboo, I don't think Macaboo will beat Canelo. I don't think Macaboo is experienced enough, but that's the type of fighter that Canelo likes to go after. So if that's what you guys like, hey, so be it. Fine with me. But like I said, I hold all my fighters to a higher standard, and that's why I want to see. I want to see Charlo. I want to see Jamal Charlo fight Jaime Munguia, and he really needs that Munguia fight. Just to keep adding better names to his resume. I think Munguia needs to fight more, but I think Oscar De La Hoya is trying to figure out a way to get back into the zone and get back into their good graces after this whole Canelo flop, when Canelo had to sue De La Hoya to get out of that contract. And now that Canelo's back with the zone, I think Oscar is trying to find a way to open, to get back in their good graces and do some more stuff. So he's pushing to have better fights over there for his own thing with the zone, his own relationship with the zone. So I think that's what he's trying to work out, but I don't think PBC is going to have that. And I think PBC will just do just like what Canelo does. Let Jamal Charlo go fight people that have some kind of relevance, but maybe not be that important, but have some kind of relevance, like this guy right here is a mandatory. So that's one thing about it. And speaking of relationships with networks and stuff, did you guys see Jaron Ennis? He inked a deal with Showtime. So now that he inked a deal with Showtime, he is going to be up there with Showtime. And so he might turn out to be the next Floyd Mayweather. You never know, man. He just might be, which is cool. There's so much stuff going on here in this boxing stuff right about now, man. It's a lot of good stuff out with that. I mean, I think also that they said that they're going to move his date and let him fight on pay-per-view. Jaron Ennis, he'll fight pay-per-view up under, I forgot somebody else's card. It's been so many shakeups here lately that he was supposed to fight up under a different card. I think they moved him. They're moving Ortiz off because Ortiz is hurt. And then they're talking about letting Blair Cobb fill in for him. So I don't know. I don't know about that. So I don't know about that. So somebody, hold on, I'm checking on her. He says boxers don't duck. What boxers don't duck? Canelo is a duck. What are you talking about? Canelo is definitely a duck. And that's the truth. Canelo is definitely a duck. And we all know that. Canelo is definitely a duck. Boxers don't duck. I can't believe you said that, man. Boxers don't duck. I'm going to leave that right up here. Right where it needs to be, man. Because you guys, boxers don't need to duck. Boxers. Whatever, man. Anyway, we're going to get back to cooking like we was, man. You done kind of threw us off with that craziness, man. That's what's done happened. I think we got us a little troll in here that just wants to throw stuff out and hijack our stuff right now. So yeah, I guess that's just life, huh? Everybody's wants to do a little something, huh? There we go. We even it back up. There we go. Kind of threw me off, man. Kind of threw me off. Here we go. There we go, man. Let's see. Here we go. Let me get it all back together. Here we go. There we go. All right. I got it all even out, guys. Got it all even out. So now when these trolls come out, I can put them right up and get right to what they saying, man. Shoot. Hold on. It done threw me off up here in this camp. That's all right. That is all right. All right, here we go. Here we go, man. All right. And Canelo is a wrap. There we go. Said no boxes of duck. All right, we trying to get it all together, man. Here we go, man. All right, anyway. And like I said, man, you know, Canelo, man, that dude is just, I think Canelo is just crazy, man. I think Canelo is a big-time duck, and that's just what it is. Ain't nothing you guys can do to convince me otherwise, because guess what? Canelo is going to keep doing what Canelo does, you know. Canelo is going to do what Canelo does. All right, here we go. Man, just trying to get this stuff together. Somebody called in and messed my whole computer thing up. Here we go. All right, there we go. Now it's right like I want it. Oh, man. One of them nights, man. One of them nights, man. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. All right, there we go. There we go. Here we go. Man, it's messing my stuff up, man. All right, here we go, guys. All right, anyway. So, like I said, man, I think Canelo's a duck. And like I was saying, Jaron Ennis, man, congratulations to him. I'm so glad Jaron Ennis had inked a deal with Showtime, because that gets a lot of, I think it gets that puts him in a really good position, man. That definitely puts Jaron Ennis in a really good position. So I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on that, Jaron Ennis? Also, and with Blair Cobb, they're saying that they're going to do it with Blair Cobb. Like I said, I don't understand what's going to happen about this Blair Cobb situation and all this moving around, but I guess in the next day or so. And if you guys haven't heard about it, what else went on today is Cambosis and Devin Haney was supposed to be in talks to fight, but now they're saying that Lomachenko is going to try to talk to Ukraine about being able to come over and fight. So don't know what that's about. I don't know how that's going to work out, but we'll all see that real soon. So there we go. There we go. All right. Now we cooking. Now we back. There we go. All right, here we go. Yeah. Canelo beats everyone. Benavidez, Jamal Charlo included. Yeah. Canelo can beat everybody. Let you guys tell it. And that's why Canelo don't want to fight these guys, right? That's the whole reason why Canelo does not want to fight these guys, because he can beat them. It'd be an easy victory, right? Yep. That's exactly what it is. Yep. But anyway, man, we're gonna keep on cooking, man. Y'all done threw me all off with my computer and stuff been acting up. But anyway, yeah, man, like I said, I think that with everything going on, but like I said about Devin Haney and Cambosis, they said that Bill Haney was on Blue Blood, contacted Blue Blood, and was telling him that they were in talks, that Loma wasn't gonna be able to come back and fight, and so Bob Arum said that they need to move on with the fight, and so which is crazy, which is crazy is because the very next day now they're saying that Loma is said he's going to try to contact the authorities and ask, can he get out and be able to go train and get back to boxing. So that's going to shake things up again too. So I don't know where they were in negotiations with Devin Haney. I don't know how that's going to go, but they're going to give Lomachenko another quick shot at those titles again, so Devin Haney doesn't stand a chance on that, man. There's some things about boxing that I love, and there's a lot of things about boxing that I really, really hate. But that's just the point of boxing, I guess, Boxing is one of those things that just when you think you know something's going to work out right, because it's all about this what goes on behind closed doors is what dictates what we see. The business of boxing sucks, man, and it sucked for a long time. But then we do get some things that makes us smile, like Teofimo Lopez losing his belts to Cambosis. I loved it. Appreciated that. Just like AJ got knocked out by Andy Ruiz for dodging Wilder. I love that. Just like Keith Thurman lost to Pacquiao. I love that as well. So those are music to my ears when the boxing gods get it right. Yes. Now, if the boxing gods would just get one more thing right, send Canelo to the same boat that Keith Thurman is in, AJ is in, T.O. is in, Loma is in. Just put him in the boat with them. That way the judges can't rob whoever it is that beats him again like they did Laura, Trout, Triple G. If they can just do that, I will be happy. Oh, wow. Dude, I see you just not going to stop, man. You want to call in and just tell me what your thoughts is on that, man, because you're talking about why does it bother you that Canelo is the guy in boxing today. See, that's where you get it wrong. I don't care that Canelo is the guy in boxing. That doesn't bother me. I'm okay with Canelo being the top guy in boxing because he can box. He has skill. But the thing you don't understand is, like Blair Cobb said, I don't like ducks. Well, Blair Cobb didn't say it that way. Blair Cobb said, what he said about Spence, he said, Spence is scared or whatever else, or whatever he used for Spence. But anyway, I don't have a problem with Canelo. And you said you're gonna laugh so hard when he beats it, right? Did you laugh when he got beat by Laura? Did you laugh when he got beat by Trout? This is the problem that you don't understand. And I don't understand, is it that you're not a boxing fan or you just a Canelo groupie? What is it? Just say what it is you are. I can accept it. Like, let me just tell you this. I like Ryan Garcia. One of my guys, I like Ryan. I think Ryan has a lot of potential. I'm not saying he beats those top guys at 135. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that about Ryan Garcia. What I'm saying is I like the kid, man. I think he's got a lot of crazy antics going on. I think he's too busy caught up in YouTube and he's not dedicated to the sport like he should be. But I will say I am biased when it comes to Ryan Garcia because I like Ryan Garcia. I don't really give Ryan Garcia a hard time. I like the kid. I think he has potential. I think he will be on top one day if he keeps his head in the game and keeps getting his skills together. I don't think he's ready for Tank. I don't think he's ready for Devin. I don't think he's ready for you know what? I'm not gonna say about T.O. because I don't know. If T.O. fights him the way he fought Cambosis, I think Ryan might be able to beat him. But I have to see more from Ryan. These other guys are in here in the mix fighting, getting their skills together. But like I said, I like Ryan Garcia. But I am biased when it comes to Ryan Garcia because I should be giving Ryan Garcia more hell, but I don't. And so that was one of the things. I'm biased when it comes to Ryan Garcia. So I'll call that out there. Nobody else for me really gets a pass. And definitely Canelo doesn't get a pass. Okay, where are we at on it? Said when he beats everyone, you're gonna laugh so hard. Antonio Luna said that. Said Spence is afraid of Bud. So you say Spence will fight Bud. Spence is not Canelo, man. He's not gonna take the easy way out like that. Spence is gonna become undisputed. Spence likes challenges just like Bud does. So I don't give him a pass. Okay, Edgar Mendez said he won, period. You blind, bro. Okay. So let me say this. I don't think he won that fight with Laura. I don't think he won that fight with Trout. I don't think he won the fight with Triple G, the first fight. Now, the reason why I don't want to see him in Triple G fight for the third fight is because, let me tell you why. Triple G talked all that shit to Canelo. Oh man, you run around the ring and you fight me Mexican style and all this other shit, right? So Canelo goes and comes out head first. I mean, just straight ahead all night. Canelo didn't do anything slick. Canelo wasn't trying to lose a lot of movement. He kicked Triple G's butt. Period. It was convincing. The first fight, I slightly gave it to Triple G. Slightly. Second fight, straight Canelo. Canelo beat him convincingly enough. I don't care to see another fight. He can't beat Canelo. And plus, he's 40 years old. I don't think he can find greatness like that again. Not at all. I don't see it. So, but like I said, Edgar, Canelo has robbed people on those scorecards because anybody that saw the first Floyd Mayweather fight with Canelo, Floyd Mayweather washed Canelo. Yes, he did, man. He washed Canelo. And guess what? One of the judges had Canelo winning. They should never be a judge again. So, like I said, that's just how I feel about it. Canelo lost the first fight to Triple G, lost to Trout, lost to Laura, period. And because he's scared of those styles, he won't fight Andre. Andre will beat him. All right. Antonio Luna said, when is your birthday? I'm going to get you a Canelo t-shirt. Nah. Hey, you know what, man? Let me tell you something. When you get through, I don't hate Canelo. That's what you don't understand. Canelo is a really good skill fighter, man. Do I think he's the most skillful fighter out there? No. Do I think he's a really good fighter? Yes. Canelo is a really good fighter, man. I tell you what's funny. When Floyd Mayweather said he was going to fight Canelo, I was excited because I was like, I'm glad Floyd is giving him a chance, which Keith Thurman deserved a chance before Canelo. He really did. But Either way, I wasn't upset with it because I thought Canelo was a really good fighter. I think Canelo came with the wrong game plan of the rehydration thing because Floyd Mayweather had fought at 154, but he normally fought back at 147. So his last previous fights before Canelo was at 147. So they did a catch weight at 152, and then he allowed Canelo to rehydrate. He knew Canelo would come in and try to be the bigger fighter, but Floyd's style, Canelo can't deal with. He got beat by Laura. He couldn't handle that style with Laura. He couldn't. He got beat by Trout too, and that's why he won't fight Andre. He's going to always say Andre is a boring fighter because he can't hit him. That's like if you try to say Shakur Stevenson is a boring fighter. They're not. They're just skillful. It's the art of boxing. It ain't a tough man contest. Antonio Luna said Mayweather should fight Canelo now. See, that's the problem. You would hope Floyd would come out of retirement at 45 years old to give Canelo a shot. He schooled Canelo. He could probably beat Canelo again, but this is the thing. You're up for him to fight some guy that's retired. For what? A guy that hadn't fought in so many years, who schooled him, who was old when he fought him. Floyd was like 38 years old when he gave Canelo a shot, but he couldn't wait too much longer because he knew Father Time is undefeated by nobody. So you're okay with that. You're okay with your champ fighting somebody like Mayweather coming all the way out of retirement. Man, that's silly, man. That is really silly. And that right there lets me know you're a Canelo groupie, man. You're a Canelo groupie. You're not a Canelo fan. You're a groupie, dude. You see Canelo and you get hearts in your eyes, man. You probably start sweating. Your palms probably get sweaty and stuff. You love Canelo. And I want to hear you admit it, man. Why don't you come right here on the chat or you can call in. The number's right here on the screen, 954-408-3312, man. You can call right in and you can tell everybody how much you love Canelo. Tell everybody just how much you... Let me ask you this. Do you have a tattoo that says Canelo on your body? That's what I would like to know. I would really like to know if you had a Canelo tattoo on your body. Because that's what it seems to me, man. Man, go ahead, man. Call in and let us know where the tattoo is. I say you got a tattoo across your lower back that says Canelo Alvarez, don't you? Go ahead and show us. Go ahead and show us your Canelo tattoo around the bottom of your back that says Canelo fan or Canelo groupie. Anyway, guys, you guys are crazy, man. Till you guys start holding your fighters accountable, man, you don't have the right to come on here and hold other fighters accountable. I don't know what this Canelo craze is, man, and what Canelo has done to you guys, but you guys are like rock star in love with Canelo, man. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I've had fighters I liked all these years, man, my whole life that I had fighters that I followed, but I have never seen people give such a good fighter a pass like that. I don't understand it, man. I really don't. Not me, man. I hold my fighters to a greater standard, man. All day long. And I'm going to keep holding my fighters to a greater standard, man. Always. And I'm glad you guys came in on the channel. You guys need to come in on the channel some more. Maybe you guys will learn something, understand boxing. That it's okay to have a favorite fighter. Like, I got Spence as one of my favorite fighters, right? But I got Terrence Crawford as my number one pound for pound guy. So you see how that works? Terrence Crawford is my number one pound for pound, but Spence is my number one welterweight. So those two guys got to fight. Now, I'm going to repeat that. Terrence Crawford is my number one pound for pound. Earl Spence is my number one welterweight, and he's my number 2 pound for pound. So those two guys got to fight to find out who's the best. Now, I think Spence will beat Bud. I really do. But I'm not going to be one of those guys that say, you know what, man, he'll beat who has Bud fought. Yeah, he beat Sean Porter, but so did Keith Thurman. So, and Ugas, I had Ugas winning, and blah, blah, blah. And so did Earl Spence. Earl Spence beat him, and Kell Brook beat him. So Bud beat him. Bud ain't fought nobody. No. I'm going to allow Bud and Spence to figure out who's the best. That's what real boxing fans do. Not you guys. Not you guys with the tattoo of Canelo on your lower back. Antonio said, Cortez told me you have no boxing, no life on your lower back. So now that I find out where you came from on her because of Cortez, guess what? Guess what, man? That it all falls under you got. See, listen. That whole group, I'm trying to save that whole group. Iron Fist Boxing group on Facebook is a really good group. And like I told some of my YouTube people, I'm hardly ever on her making videos because I'm always in those groups debating. And the reason why I debate, because I'm trying to teach you guys how to be fans of boxing. I'm trying to show you guys not to be groupies, to be boxing fans. You can have a boxer you like, but if you're going to consider yourself a boxing connoisseur, you got to hold your idols accountable, man. And you guys don't know how to do that. But now that I know you guys came out of that group, man, I'll give you guys a pass tonight because I know you guys have that Canelo name on your lower back. And I get it. I understand it. I really do. So you guys get a pass, man. But one of the things I want to know from you guys is, what are your thoughts on Vergil Ortiz pulling out of the fight? Do you guys think that was real, that he's really injured? And I'll go back over to what they're saying. There's two versions to that story. One is that Vergil Ortiz is not making weight. So he's doing that to back out of the fight. And the other one is that he was working out too hard and something happened with his muscles. I forget what the name of the condition is called, but what it is after you work your muscles too hard, your muscles and stuff start breaking down and it'll start filtering out through your kidneys and stuff like that. And that could kill you. So I want to know your thoughts on that. Do you guys have a thought on that? And I'm not going to ask Michael Cortez because guess what? He doesn't have a thought on that. If it ain't Canelo, he's not going to jump on it. But I think that me personally, I think that with him switching from Canelo's gym and getting to a new gym, that could have thrown his whole boxing stuff off because now he's went from Mikey Garcia's gym and then switching down to Canelo's gym. Now he switched out there to another gym. I think that can affect a boxer because you're changing trainers and each trainer is doing their own thing. So it kind of throws you off. So he could be having a fat camp going on. So it's actually smart of him because if he loses to a bum, he falls all the way back down. And right now is a crucial time. He can't take a loss right now because he's fighting for the top spot with Jaron Ennis. And now that Showtime is back in Jaron Ennis, man, Jaron Ennis is getting ready to shoot to the top because there's going to be a lot of money flowing through that way. And Jaron Ennis is going to get a title shot. So, you know. So you said Ortiz was losing weight. Do you think Ortiz was losing weight? And that's what it is yeah, they say he was losing weight and they say he was working out. And some of that was damaging a lot of muscles. So do you think it's just really because it was a fat count? Because that's what I'm thinking it is. I'm thinking it was a fat count, me to be honest. I think it was a fat count, which I'm not upset about that because, like I said, with him switching trainers and stuff like that, you're going to have problems. You went from Mikey Garcia, from Robert Garcia, and you said that Robert Garcia wasn't giving you enough attention. You wasn't getting sparring partners. Then you go down to Canelo's gym, and Eddie Reynoso wasn't giving you sparring partners, and you needed them. I mean, boxers need those sparring partners to stay sharp. And when most gyms have their workhorse, which is Canelo, in Eddie Reynoso's gym is Canelo, he's going to give Canelo all the attention. And if Canelo says, hey, man, I'm ready to go over here to Dubai, I want you to come with me. Eddie's going to go with him to Dubai. Eddie's going to go over there and train him while he's over there. They're going to take vacations together. Those guys are real close. And so I think that anybody else in that gym is going to suffer. I mean, you can't blame Eddie for that because Canelo is putting Eddie really on the map. And then you have a Robert Garcia. Anytime Mikey or somebody else in his gym, the boxer's been with him for the longest. I think Robert Garcia is going to cater to those guys first. So it was okay for him to leave. So I don't think it was a bad thing that Ortiz left. This is just one of those things that when you have a bad situation in the gym, it's just a result of. And then Ryan Garcia went back to his old trainer because he wasn't getting any sparring, which made sense. So that was one of those things. So you definitely need help on that. So, yeah. So I think it could be all about losing weight. But like I said, the welterweight division is heating up, man. It's been hot for a while, and it's going to right now that, like I said, that Ortiz is injured. he's gonna have to make a move after this. So, and then if Blair Cobbs gets in there and fills in for him, and they're talking about letting him take that opponent. If he takes that opponent, that is a really good step-up fight for Blair Cobbs. And if he takes that one and pulls that one off, and he's being trained by Freddie Roach, that's what he needs to capitalize on. That will put him in the conversation. He won't be considered a prospect. So Blair Cobbs better do what he got to do to get on up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ortiz should fight Adesanya yet next. Yeah, I think so too. But you know who I would really like to see Ortiz fight? I would like to see Ortiz fight Jaron Ennis for the top spot, to be honest. I know Jaron Ennis is getting ready to fight the guy from across seas, Conor Benn. And that's going to be a really good fight. And we see how that one works out. That's going to be a really good. I think it's Conor Benn he's fighting, right? I think so. I'm going to look that back up. Maybe, like I said, it's been so much stuff going on here lately, man. What I thought I knew, and I've been dealing with this and dealing with that, is just going. Minnie Mills said Charlo, Munguia, no more. Man, I don't think they're going to fight because they put it out there. De La Hoya accepted the fight. And PBC, they all came to an agreement. But the real problem is that PBC is going to put it on their Showtime deal. They were going to air it, in which they are A-side, so they should be able to pick where they're going to air that fight at. But De La Hoya wants to move with Showtime and DAZN, and that's not going to work out. PBC is not going to play that game and let them have the credit because PBC is the A-side. They have the champ. So, but I will say this. Let me say this. Oh, what's next for Charlo or Munguia? If no Charlo, what's next for Munguia? I don't know. I hope this is, Clayton. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's what it is, Clayton. That's who Jerron Boots is going to fight, is Clayton. Custio Clayton. And that's actually going to be a really good fight. I don't know why I threw Conor Benn in there. I just kind of got confused on him. So I'm glad you put that in. But, I don't know who Munguia is going to fight. But Munguia really needs that Charlo fight. That's a title shot. So to really be honest, man, I think what PBC did is trying to show that De La Hoya and them that they don't need that fight. They can go fight a mandatory and let Munguia sit and go another route. Which, man, really, it hurts. It hurts. So this is what I think should happen. Before it's set in stone, I think that Munguia and Charlo need to revisit this thing. And I think that the A-side should pick what network they're going to fight on. Because that's the way it always is with the A-side. So, I don't know. I think Munguia, I would love to see Charlo and Munguia. I don't approve of this mandatory by Charlo. I don't approve of that. But what can you do when you got PVC involved and De La Hoya and them going back and forth and they bumping heads about what network they're going to fight on? PBC is going to keep theirs with that. Yep. So, I think, me personally, I think that Munguia should really go pursue that Charlo, and I think Charlo should really pursue Munguia. Period. That's the fight I want to see right there. And then we'll go on from there. And I also think that Andrade is going to move up. But if he doesn't move up, that'd be a good person that Munguia could fight. And that would get him a belt as well, too. So that would be a really good one. Antonio said Adams and Janibic. I think that, man, like I said, it's just so much out there, man. I tell you what, man, it's so many good fights that could be made, but it's so many politics. Man, I know we go back and forth as fans all the time, and I definitely enjoy the debates. But I think that the politics, you got these promoters that keep going back and forth, and they're robbing us. And they're actually robbing the fighters too, because every time they skip a fight, these fighters are getting older. And look at Jamal Charlo. He's got an okay resume. It could be better. But when you got them doing this now, he doesn't fight Munguia. He goes and fights a mandatory who doesn't help him. That's just a wasted fight. And then again, you could lose. Every boxer has a puncher's choice. Yeah. Minnie Mills said, I don't understand why they let the zone PBC detail until the very last minute. This move sounds suspect. That's the same thing that I said, man. Think about this. You know the A side normally picks everything. They pick where they're going to fight at. They pick the ring. I mean, they pick all kind of stuff. A side picks it all. This is nothing new. This has been done plenty of times. So why would they go so far as negotiating, right? They get a signed contract, a done deal, and at the last minute, once everything is accepted, they go, well, we're going to fight on DAZN, and we want Showtime DAZN. And PBC's like, no, we're going to do Showtime with us. No, we're going to take it to DAZN. To me, that does sound suspect, and I don't want to put it on Munguia. I really don't. I think it's De La Hoya's bull crap that he's pushing it over there for some other reason. I don't know why. I don't know if there is another fight in the making, something going on behind closed doors that we don't know about, but it's a reason for it. So I'm just like you, a suspect. Something went down. We haven't heard about it yet, but we will hear about it a little bit later. And it said, if Charlo loses to Munguia, Canelo bag is out the door. I agree with it. If he loses to Munguia, then what does he have? He doesn't even have a belt. He's not undefeated. And it's hard. But this is the thing. If he beats Munguia, does that get him a Canelo fight? It won't get him a Canelo fight because Canelo is not going to fight Charlo. It's not going to happen. Do I think Charlo can beat Canelo? I don't know. I don't know that Charlo can beat Canelo. I really don't. I'm not going to go out here and say that, oh, yeah, man, Charlo beats him. I know what I see about Canelo is Charlo has a really good jab. Charlo has some really good punching power. Charlo is bigger than Bivol. People don't even know that. Did you know Bivol weighs more than Charlo, but height-wise and reach advantage and all that, Charlo is the same size as Bivol. So when people say, oh, Bivol is such a bigger fighter, such a bigger threat, he's the same size as Charlo. He just weighs a little bit more. Charlo is a little leaner with more muscle mass. So Charlo could pick up those extra few pounds and get right up there with it. But he's not used to fighting at that weight. So, you know, the fact that they made Charlo fight so fast confirms this. Charlo Salicki was in the works when the Munguia fight was talked about. I can't say it was that mandatory was in the works. And the reason why I say I can't say that is because I don't think that they were not wanting to fight Munguia, because I think that was a really good match. And I think right now a lot of the promoters are wanting to put on really good fights. Like, think about it like this. You can only make so many fights like this fight that Charlo's going to have. That's not going to bring in a lot of fans. And right now, you got so many fights that went on last year. You got to recover from that. Think about it. Last year was an explosion towards the end of the year. You had everybody fighting around that time. You had Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. You had Sean Porter, Bud. I mean, it was so Tank Davis. Tank Davis really supposed to fight Rolly, but remember the sexual allegations came out? Bam. Devin, Haney, and JoJo. You had so many good fights, and it all crammed down, right? And so you had these few dead spots in there, and now it's that time again a year where they need to start getting some on the books, because let me tell you something. Showtime and a lot of those networks, they're not going to just let you just keep not making them money. They're going to go out of business like HBO. So they need to put on really good quality fights. They're not going to keep putting out fights like that that's not bringing in a big crowd. And everybody gave Tank hell. Everybody gave Tank hell when he broke his hand and barely beat Pitbull, right? So they gave him hell. They said, we don't want to see another one of those fights. Then he turns right around and fights Rolly. Now, this is the thing. A lot of people don't like Rolly. They really don't like Rolly. And Rolly talks so much shit that people are willing to pay to see Tank knock out Rolly. I definitely want to see that fight, because I want to see what round Tank is going to knock Rolly out in. It's going to be a really good fight. It's going to be a dirty fight because Rolly is a dirty fighter. But Rolly believes he can win. And guess what? Rolly is going to go in there and try to knock out Tank, which is going to be an explosion. But is this a fight I really want to see? No. I want to see him fight somebody like Loma. I want to see him fight somebody like George Cambosis, Ryan Garcia. That's who I want to see Tank fight. Devin Haney. I want to see those fights. But guess what? You know, PBC, they got to start putting on good quality fights, man. They got to. It's just it's not going to work. What type of fighting style did Salvador Sanchez have, and who fight like him in modern times? Salvador Sanchez was a really good fighter, man. He had a style. He came forward. Who fights like him? I think this is the thing. When we try to say fighters mimic certain fighters, but I think that the new fighters now incorporate a lot of styles from a lot of older fighters. Like Earl Spence. He comes forward. He goes to the body like Marvin Hagler, but he has his own style of doing it. So you can't really call it a Marvin Hagler style. Devin Haney is more like a Floyd. Floyd was more like Sweepy Pernell Whitaker, but Floyd's father, you got to think like this. A lot of people don't understand the thing about Floyd. The thing that made Floyd so deadly was his father was a champ, his uncles were champs, and Floyd got to train from a young age with people like Frankie Randall. Frankie Randall was from Morristown, Tennessee. Frankie Randall was an excellent fighter. He had a drug problem. So Floyd grew up with all these, Sweet Pete Whitaker. He fought so many people in so many styles that were Hall of Famers taught him at a young age. So he fought those guys and he came up. So his style mimics all of them when he's in that position. So you got to look at it like when you say what modern fighters fight like that one fighter, a lot of them incorporate those styles. A lot of them use the Roberto Duran styles, the Sanchez styles, all of that. I just think that they all grab little pieces that work for them, because as the generations goes on, you start seeing fighters evolve. And with those fighters evolving, they have to keep getting pieces from different fighters. Like a lot of people are trying to use this shoulder roll. It will work for some people. Some of them it won't. Devin Haney is trying to be like Floyd Mayweather. He doesn't have certain little things that he does miss from Floyd. Like when Floyd was Pretty Boy Floyd, he had a lot of power. Devin Haney has all the finesse, all those other skills. You have Vergil Ortiz. Man, Vergil Ortiz is a straightforward fighter with a lot of power. But the thing about Vergil Ortiz has some skill with it too. So it's just so many fighters out there. I can't say one fighter just mimics those styles, but it's just that's my answer, because I can see a lot from different fighters that Sanchez has influenced. A lot of those old fighters, when there's a student of the game and they see something that an older fighter has done that they really like, that they'll take parts and pieces. And so you have a lot of people out there. It's a lot. So I can't say one particular fighter does, you know. I know that Robert Garcia, when he teaches and some of that stuff he does, you can see little parts and pieces on some of the things he's learned over the years from them. So like I said, it's a lot of fighters take parts and pieces from their other fighters that they really, really, really like. And that's what makes me like the science of boxing. It's a sweet science, man. That's what inspires me to keep doing boxing and talk about boxing, because man, I've watched boxing from the 80s all the way up until now, so I got to see the different people fight. I got to watch Sugar Ray Leonard fight. I was a little young kid, and I watched a lot of that, and I loved it. So that kind of inspires me more. Why don't the Mexican style incorporate more defense? There's exceptions to this, but the style is always taking a lot of hits like Munguia. Why don't they work on defense more? Well, you know, it's one of those things that I think that they have that rugged style, and I think that they should work on it a little bit too, because I'll tell you this, Canelo has some defense too, man. Canelo really does. Canelo is like, I say he's one of those new hybrid type fighters as well, because Canelo can do the quote unquote, you call it the Mexican style, the come forward, but Canelo has defense. So good, smart fighters does have it, you know, and I think that you get people that want to impress the crowd so much, and the people don't want to take the time to go to all the other facets of boxing. So you got these people that come in and just think, oh, it's just, I come straight forward. I take all this, take it face on. Because I'll tell you what's funny. Floyd Mayweather said this about, and I know he was talking about Earl Spence when he said that. Earl Spence has this come forward style because if you notice something, Earl Spence's first trainer was a Mexican trainer in Texas. So that got that little bit of that style coming forward a whole lot, right? And so Floyd said, you get these fighters that come out, they won't have their faculties later on. Yeah, when you're young, you can take that kind of banging, but as you get older, you can't. And so I think he was talking to Earl Spence. So I think that down in Texas, down a little further down south, a lot of those styles, and that's what they teach is come forward. And they teach them to do a little bit of that defense and parrying. So you see Spence do a lot of parrying. He doesn't do a lot of dodging that some people say running and that kind of stuff. He parries, he rolls with the punches and stuff. And so Canelo can do it. Canelo's really good at it too. So I think some of the elite fighters do that. Munguia, just young. I think that they should take the time out to learn how to work on defense more or work on that kind of stuff. He says Charles Bewley versus this guy, Ward, Tony Jones, Jr. Hopkins. Thoughts? I don't know, man. I don't know. Ward, Tony, and Jones, those guys, the thing about them are, man, because we going all over the board here, man. But those styles that those guys had are a little different. James Toney's style was different than Jones. Jones was a good fighter. He had a whole lot of skills, but Jones had those intangibles that a lot of fighters didn't have. He was kind of a freak of nature, man. He was real quick. He kept his hands down because he was a whole lot quicker. But Andre Ward is a real patient fighter. So with any three of those guys, you're going to get, those are totally different fighters. So, and those are different era. I mean, it's kind of hard to say, man. This is my point. Canelo, Sanchez, Julio, etc. have defenses, but modern Mexican boxers just get hit too much. And the struggle with guys that have movement. Mexican style lacks defense and footwork. It really does. It really does. But, you know, it's one of those things that styles make fights, right? And certain styles, okay, let me say this. I agree with you 100%, is that boxing, you have to have a lot of skills, but a lot of people call it boring, and they don't get behind it. Look at Devin Haney. Devin Haney has all that what you talk about, but people call him a boring fighter, right? And some people like going in there and banging. Some people love that stand in the trenches. Some people get off on it. Arturo Gatti. They love that kind of blood sport type stuff. And they get hit way too much. And then when they get older, their mind is not that. Eric Morales had Mayweather Sr. in his corner teaching him defense. Morales should have kept Mayweather longer. He should have. But a lot of times it's just like Deontay Wilder. Remember when Deontay Wilder was with Malik Scott? Malik Scott was teaching him all these, trying to get him to do all those moves. But like they said, that once you get hit and once you get into a firefight, you're going to go back to what you've been taught. And a lot of times, those are the styles that they teach in Mexico. And some of those, through those blood fights and down in there, those hardcore fights, you're gonna have. I agree with you. Let me just say that. I agree with you. They need to learn defense. They need to learn those styles. But they try to say those quote unquote styles are slick for slick boxers, meaning more black fighters do those kind of things when it's just really boxing. And you get those straightforward, they call it Mexican fights, but there's a lot of people that came forward. There's a lot of boxers that do it, but like I said, they adopted more in that style. Mikey, but you got to think about this. Mikey Garcia, you don't really call him a slick boxer, but he has movement. He has pretty good defense. Mikey has some skills. He does. I think Mikey has no business being at 147 because I think it's just too big for him. But when Mikey was at 135, he was a beast, man. He was a beast. And he wasn't just come straight forward, but I get exactly what you're saying. The defense and the footwork side of it. And then some of it is a rhythm and some of it's how they talk. But I think that it has to start when you're a young kid moving up. And so I agree with you on that. And Eric Morales should have stayed there with him. It's a lot of people that got trained by Mayweather Sr. But I don't think it's one of those things that you can just teach overnight. So I think a lot of boxers that do learn, that have that one style that they taught growing up, that's what they'll all come back to. Canelo is Mexican, who looks Irish, that fights black. He is Mexican. He does look Irish. Does he fight black? I don't know. He fights like a really good fighter. He fights like a really good sound fighter with a lot of good skills. Do I think he's the most skillful fighter out there? No. I think he has a problem with that slick style, and that's why he runs from Andrade, and he runs from people that give him that hard style, that Laura's the track. I think he gets that confuses Canelo, that extra movement, and I think that Canelo is not going to take those fights on. So, and I can't say that because if Canelo really had that style, then he would really take on those fighters because he would have that same kind of movement to really get around that. I think Canelo has really good movement from the waist up. His footwork is not so great. I don't think Canelo has that rhythm, that rhythm to make that style a really slick fight. But Canelo is really good at what Canelo does. I think Canelo is the truth. Only reason why he's not my number one pound for pound is because of the fights he chooses and because the PEDs. So the fighters that he chooses, I don't give Canelo a lot of credit. But I think like Charlo, I can't say Charlo will beat Canelo. I think Charlo deserves a chance at fighting Canelo. I put Andrade at maybe beating Canelo better than I would give. His chances are greater to beat Canelo than Charlo. And the only reason why I say that because he has that style that Canelo does not want to deal with at all. Charlo will be a little bit more in front of Canelo. Charlo has a really good jab, but Canelo has good upper body movement. So I would love to see that fight. I don't know who would win. Just like Benavidez. Benavidez is a really good fighter. He has a lot of good strength, but I really don't think Benavidez can beat Canelo. I don't. I think Canelo might win that fight, but I give Benavidez a really good shot at beating Canelo because he has a lot of power. He's long, he's tall, and Canelo's just not going to walk him down and knock him out. So I give Benavidez a really good shot at beating Canelo. I give him a good shot. I can't say that he will. I say Canelo should win that fight with Benavidez. I say he could possibly beat Charlo. I would like to see that fight go down. I tend to say Andrade can beat Canelo because of the style. Styles make fights. And I think that if you're not just sitting right in front of Canelo and you're well conditioned and you got all this movement, I think that Canelo's going to have a problem. He had a problem with Plant in the beginning. He had a problem with Amir Khan in the beginning. Now, he had a plan to walk him down and knock him out. So they did well up until the point where they got tired, which them walking you down will get you tired. And the Mexican style of coming forward will get a lot of fighters tired. They keep you on your back foot. They keep you moving. And that style works. That Mexican style works a lot. So like they said, style makes fights. You just got to be a fighter that has different styles and that you can be able to adapt. And Canelo has different styles. Munguia needs to work on a few more of his styles, his movement, some more stuff like that. People like Castaño is a really good fighter. He comes straight forward, puts a lot of pressure on you. Castaño is a really good fighter, man, but he has that straightforward style. And I can't wait until him and Jamel Charlo get in there and bang it out again. But anyway, guys, man, if you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I appreciate all the back and forth. Make sure you guys hit the like, subscribe, and share button. Hit the notification icon. And feel free to share, and make sure you guys tune in tomorrow night. We'll be on around 10 or maybe a little bit after. So make sure you guys look for our live to come in. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and share. And hit the notification icon so when I do hit live, you'll see it. I'll have the number on the screen tomorrow night where you guys can call in, sound off, tell how you feel, or you can just stick into the comment section. So until tomorrow, guys, that was Straight Up No Chaser, and I'm out. Peace. Appreciate you guys.